we were getting a subscriber for $50 or $1.
You know, you never open your own car door.
When was the last time you opened a door?
I don't know.
Do you ever just sit there and scroll TikTok?
You know, if I was married, no one would know.
Money all around me. She think I'm the best.
And you have no skills. Go off social media entirely.
Yeah, I
feel
mean,
nervous?
it's like, where'd I go from here? You know,
You're at
dream
the
guest, book.
Cut it, episode 2. The man, the myth, the legend. We're live.
When I address you, should I say Vlad or should I say Biaheza? Because I don't think you're public about your name, right?
Mr. Biaheza. Mr. Biaheza.
Now, before we dive in, we do have to thank AutoDS for sponsoring today's episode. You want to make some money online? Dropshipping is one of your best options to do so, especially if you're starting out from scratch. It's how I got my start, and I'm still doing ecom 5 years later. And AutoDS is your one-stop shop for all your dropshipping needs. They are one of the most respected and well-known services for fulfilling your e-commerce orders. You connect them to your store, and they'll actually handle all of the back-end automatically as far as getting your orders to your customers. No more dealing with scammy suppliers and scammy agents and worrying about your products getting to your customer. Don't have a store already built? Well, they've just launched a feature where you choose a niche and they'll provide an AI generated store built for you automatically. You can then use their winning product section to find something to sell, combine that with their TikTok ad spy tool to find some winning ads for your products, and you can start running something up quicker than ever. You can set them up to automatically fulfill and deliver all your orders with shipping times as low as like 3 business days on some of the products. Feel free to check them out using the link in the description. And now back to the episode.
Well, hey man, thanks for coming on. It's pretty crazy how this happened. I know I told you the name of the podcast is Nonchalant. I'm gonna get a little chalant right now.
Okay.
We were actually at dinner when we DM'd you. We were kind of thinking about how to riz you, get you on the podcast, and we're thinking we'll plant the seed right now. Maybe in like 6 months we fly out to Dubai, we make something happen. But as we're about to type something up, the sushi comes in, we start chomping. After we're done, Max checks his phone. You're in LA. And it's like we can make this happen as second guest. So I appreciate you moving quick.
No, bro, it's I like to spend as little time in the US as humanly possible. So I thought, hey, you know, because I'm here, and as I said, I'm not doing any more podcasts for a while. But you're the one person I'll make an exception for.
Thank you, brother. Why do you say you don't want to be in the US?
A myriad of different reasons. But I think, let me put it this way. I also do want to clarify that my experience of America isn't the true America. I've been to LA, I've been to Miami, I've been to New York, all these places, you know, quite a few times for business. I feel like New York is the most authentic version of those three. I need to spend a little bit more time in middle America. I need to spend a little bit more time in some rural places. And I think I'll probably get more of the true essence of what America is actually like. So I say I don't like America. I think I've just from a young age not been fond of America when it comes to geopolitics, America's involvement in many different places in the world. But as a people, I do like the American spirit, and there are things I do definitely adore about America. I just haven't had the time to go to the right places to truly experience it.
Yeah, I mean, we understand with LA especially, it's pretty crazy what's going on. I mean, most people are gone now.
It really seems like a ghost town here. Sorry to interrupt you, but it really is. It's weird. There's like a weird aura here.
You talked earlier about this house, man. You kind of freaked me out. What was that about? You talking about goat sacrifices?
No. I'm basically there was a little mix up with our other place, and you know we ended up having to get accommodations sorted last minute. And this place is obviously massive, very nice. This is a place that Post Malone always stays at apparently, but it just gives me LA gives me creepy vibes, and then like I don't know any place I know that like a superstar has stayed at. I don't know, it just gives me even creepier vibes.
Are you a religious man?
I've prayed since a young age. Religion is, I've always believed in God. Religion is something that, I think religion is really one of those things that should remain private. I am religious, and I just feel like, I'm going to be entirely honest, I've noticed in the last couple of years that people will weaponize religion, and people will use religion to garner a specific audience that they feel is useful to them. So that's why also, for me, I will take a photo and I'll interact with fans anywhere except for 2 places, which is my home and place of worship. Place of worship is just one place that is between me and God. That's the one place for me to be me and no one else. So to answer your question, I am religious.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of picked up on some of the videos you've made. Some of them do tend to have some of your core values. They seem to come from a religious background, which I really respect. I saw one of your videos earlier, and it's one of your recent uploads. And I'm looking at the video, and it's got 2 million views, and it's a lecture on speaking out against porn. And I mean, that's such an awesome thing that you can garner 2 million views and impact a whole generation of young men with these values. It's unheard of. Like the kind of views you're pulling.
No, I appreciate that. Listen, I want to make something very clear. I am no saint. I am very flawed in many, many ways. But I also don't think you should trust someone who thinks they're a perfect human. So bear in mind, I am 23 years old. I grew up very, very, very quickly. You know, I feel like a grandpa in most facets of my life. But you know, I'm just still trying to figure things out. I think a lot of my passion when it comes to teaching the things that I've learned, whether you agree with my methodology is a different story, comes from the fact that, you know, I grew up without a dad. And listen, you can talk about skin color, you can talk about where a person grows up. There's so many different benchmarks you can look at. The one benchmark that time and time again sets you at a disadvantage is coming from a single parent household. And obviously single parent household most of the time means that, a single mother household. So I think there's just a lot of things that I painfully had to learn myself. So I think that's why I like to speak to the young men of our generation. And as I said, I'm not perfect, but I try my best.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, as far as talking to men, there's a reason you do that, right? You're in that position. You're taking care of your mom, which is awesome. And we saw the video. You bought your mom a house, a flat, an apartment, right? That must have been a massive goal, right? And I'm just curious how you set your goals. Do you come around to that? It's like, oh, well, maybe eventually once I have enough money and I'm in a position to buy that house, I will do that for her? Or was it very intentional where you're, okay, I will buy my mom a house within the next 5 years, and you tell her that? How do you go about setting those goals?
No, I think I told her, everything that's happened, I told her from day one. And I think it's important that if you have, these goals and these aspirations, I don't know if it's necessarily best to tell your friends, because I'm going to be very honest with you. Your friend today may not necessarily be your friend in 3 years or 5 years. And, the world does work in funny ways. As pure as you might think someone's heart is, sometimes their heart isn't always in the right way. And, with that said, your family can get difficult. Family can get very difficult. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that your parents always mean the best for you. So I think your family is that one section of people that if you have dreams and goals and aspirations, tell them. They probably won't believe you. If you're at home and you live at home with your parents right now, if you tell them, listen, in 5 years, I'm going to pay the mortgage off, they may not believe you, but I don't think there's any part of them that will feel threatened by it or hate you or anything along those lines. So I was very intentional with telling my mom everything, that, listen, you're going to be driving this car. You're going to have this house, down to every single detail. So yeah, it was a very, very big goal of mine. And
yeah, I mean, that's massive. I think that's beautiful. And you do talk about taking care of your mom a lot, and you're very, very close with your mom. We could all tell. Do you have any other family that you associate with, have a relationship with?
Listen, I'll be honest, it's pretty much just me and my mom. The rest of my family is in Russia. So that's where I guess family gets difficult sometimes. I do try to fly them out and have them visit me and my mom in Dubai. And, now it's a little easier that we live in Dubai. When we lived in London, it's a little bit more difficult with visas and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll be honest, I'm an only child. So it's pretty much just me and my mom. And I guess where I'm from in the world, not only being Russian, but where I'm from, a place called Dagestan, it's Middle Eastern. And it's just if you're the only child, and especially the only son, like, you have to take care of your mom regardless.
Well, have you had any negative interactions with, maybe your extended family, seeing the videos, seeing the lifestyle and reaching out for the wrong reasons?
I've had my biological father reach out. I actually have a couple of half brothers. They've reached out, and I'm not emotional about it. I have no hate in my heart. I just think, if you miss out on so much of a person's life, I don't think if you want to forfeit yourself from the difficult times, I don't think you then get to benefit from when times are good. So as I said, I'm not emotional. I don't hold any hate in my heart about it, but yeah, they've reached out, but I don't think it's of any interest to me.
Do you aspire to start your own family?
100%.
100%,
Yeah.
really?
I don't know. I just couldn't never imagine myself being like 45 in the clubs doing this. Like, it just, and I believe in a single family as well. I also want to make that very clear. I don't believe in this whole multiple wives, blah, 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 all this. Like, I believe in a wife and a husband and a family and a nurturing home. And I think for me, by the way, I also want to make that very clear, because I've said things in the past, and it's interesting. Obviously, the social media stuff has blown up a lot in the last year and a half or so. And I talk in a way, a lot of times I say things and I sensationalize things, just because that's kind of my way of interacting. So I've said things in the past, I've said, I don't want to get married right now because I know for a fact I would cheat. And then people just remove that first thing of like, yo, I'm being honest. Like, that's actually I'm saying I don't want to lie to a person and say that I can be monogamous right now when I just know I can't be. But obviously they just chop that up and say, I will 100% cheat when I'm in. So, all that to say that I believe 100% in marriage. I think that when the time comes that I do get married and have a family, it's something that's extremely important to me. And yeah, I believe in a traditional family.
We're definitely on the same page. Vlad and I got married, not to each other this year. We have our own beautiful wives. So we're on the same page with that. I think it's a beautiful thing, when there's a husband-wife.
But I will say, I was confused as to where you stand, because again, you have those kind of clips of floating around of you saying that, but then we also know about the vault.
I have like a separate vault where I keep my Birkins, my Kellys.
That's crazy.
And my watches for my future wife.
We know you got the vault.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that vault's going to open up anytime soon?
Yeah, I think, listen, that's another thing where I think religion and your family are two things I don't understand when people put that out.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you right now that, if I was married, no one would know. I just don't see the point in having a big public relationship. And, when the time does come that I am married, it's not going to be something that's public. I think it doesn't need to be something that's hidden. I would have, no qualms if in 3 years we run it back when you guys are on episode 237 or whatever. And, I will have absolutely no issues wearing a wedding ring. But just like the relationship itself being public and out there, I don't understand why. I don't understand why people want to be this like social media. There's nothing good that social media brings to a relationship. I have never ever seen a public social media relationship that has not ended in divorce, or if you look behind the scenes, there's a lot of and there's a lot of stuff that people just would never even imagine. So yeah, I think, listen, that vault might open up sooner than I imagine. Another thing I've said publicly in a previous podcast is, from a young age, and I'm talking from the age of like 12, 13, 14, I always said that I'm going to get married when I'm 38, maybe have kids when I'm 40. And the reason, and this parlays into, some of the clips that have gone up out there that have kind of taken what I've said out of context. The reason I wanted to get married and have a family so late is because when I have a family, I want to do it right. Like, I want to actually look at the woman I'm with and be like, this is a forever thing. I don't believe in divorce. I understand some people have difficult situations and this and that, but like, I don't go into something thinking, oh, this might end. Like, if I'm making that commitment, that's a commitment for life. So, that's why I always said I want to get married at 38 or 40, because I wanted to get all those years out of my system. But I think, I think it'll be a lot sooner than that. That's
okay.
for sure.
Going back to your clips. So there's something interesting about that. So we've seen your blow up through all these different clips floating online, and TeeJay might know you from the clips, but Max and I, we know you from way back. We've been watching your content for a while. In fact, we know you from, I don't know, tell me if this rings a bell. I see money all around me. She think I'm the man.
So, I'm a 17-year-old high school dropout.
She see money all around me. She think I'm... Do you care to talk about that?
Yeah, that was yeah, back in this is the start of 2018.
Okay.
I think I put it live on New Year's Eve 2017 going into 2018. I had a client of mine at the agency, and basically they came to mine, or a potential client, they came to me and they wanted me to help grow their channel, but with ads. So I'd never done it before, so I didn't feel comfortable signing them on. And I'll be honest, I'd never thought about advertising to get YouTube subscribers. So I ended up, throwing together a little ad, and I put it out at the beginning of 2018. And I think we were getting a subscriber for, half a dollar or $1 back then, in US, European market. So yeah, that was just, at first it was a little test to see whether I could deliver that service for clients. And then it ended up turning into something that I ran personally for a while.
It did really well. I mean, we all saw it, you know.
5 years later, I mean, they're sticky. You know, I still can picture the ad. Did it work out well?
Listen, it worked out okay. I got maybe 100,000 subscribers, and then it started trailing off, and the ads weren't performing as well.
But then you transitioned to organic, right? How was that completely different demographic market? You have to.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I was terrible at organic for years. I wish I had your number a lot sooner. I probably could have gone a lot further in that time. So from 2019, I made a lot of mistakes with organic. For example, I turned off monetization because I just didn't like people advertising all my videos. And that's a massive mistake. You definitely don't want to do that if you're trying to grow a YouTube channel. And I've got Tristan here, who's been my head of content for coming up on 4 years now. And, Tristan can tell you, even 18 months ago, the amount of effort we'd put into YouTube, like it was just like a side little thing. So we'd make a video, no editing or minimal editing. At some point, well, maybe back in 2019, I would just hit record, take the SD card out, like chop the beginning end bit, and that's it. It would go up on YouTube. But Tristan can tell you, I used to shoot a video, and then on the day we would decide the thumbnail. We'd make the thumbnail in like 5 minutes on the call on our meeting, and then we decide the title. And I just didn't really give much thought to it. And in all honesty, 2 years ago, I was gonna go off social media entirely, and it was actually my business partner at my software company that convinced me to stay on, because you look at the success of companies like ClickFunnels, and when you get paid to acquire a customer, you're breaking pretty much every rule in the software game. In the software game, you got to take on crazy amounts of investment. You're going to be down $60, $180, shit, for some software companies, $400, $500 day one. And then obviously your LTV will adjust and account for that. And then you've got companies like ClickFunnels who are literally breaking even or getting paid to acquire a customer to acquire a customer that then funnels into ClickFunnels. So, when my business partner told me about that, he's like, listen, as one of the founders of this company, you basically have the ability to 10, 20, 30x this company in the next 12, 24 months. And you're being so selfish that you're thinking, oh, I just don't really enjoy social media. Let me just go off it. And when he kind of painted that picture, I was like, okay, I see, fair enough. And I'm one of those people that's always quite honest about their intentions. There's periods in my life where one of my favorite sayings is, I don't have the appetite for that right now. And I just never really had the appetite for having a huge social media. I put up one YouTube video a week. We didn't really take it that seriously. But when he said that, I was like, okay, cool. If I'm going to do this, like, let me actually do this. And I will kind of give my team the flowers and give our organization the flowers, which is there's a lot of people. Well, first of all, let me make something clear. Except for like vlogs or stupid channels, we grew 2.6 million subscribers in 12 months. And that's impressive until you find out the fact that we still are growing 250,000 subscribers every single month. There's no YouTube expert on earth that can teach you that. There is no one who's had our performance on YouTube or come even close in anything to do with self-development, fitness, anything except for like stupid vlogs back in 2016. No one can really compare. And the other thing is there's one thing. It's one thing having success, and it's another thing being able to say that I made a conscious decision that I'm going to have this outcome, and I executed on a plan, and it got there. Because there's guys, even guys like, who's that? Sam Sulek, right? Like, you can't teach that. He's just authentically himself. Like, he didn't come up with a plan like, I am going to hit these numbers at this time. So his results are incredible, but you can't teach that. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that I'll always be so proud, and I'll always give my team such flowers, because we sat down and we're like, we're going to hit these numbers, and we're like, we're going to do this. And here we are.
Could we get into that plan?
What do you mean?
Because, well, from the side, it seems like you just went exponential out of nowhere. But I know behind the scenes, you guys must have been doing like a lot of crazy things. So was there like something that was an instant switch that changed everything for you? A certain strategy or anything like that? I know you do crazy stuff with the thumbnails, man. You get wild with those.
So listen, there's some stuff that I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
Because there's some stuff that, I don't necessarily believe. There are certain spaces that are hyper competitive, and I don't believe in the whole, like, I do think at a certain point there's certain things you shouldn't share, because that is your special. That's gotten you to where you are. So I'm happy to share some stuff off camera, but stuff that we do. You mentioned the thumbnails. A year and a half ago, we implemented an entire team, and we have 3 full-time thumbnail people. And bear in mind, we only upload once a week, so they're coming in every single day, and there's a new split test that's being done on old videos. So, and for each split test, they provide 5 options. So we're getting 15 thumbnail options for every single video. And there's only one video that goes out a week, but we're doing 30 rehashes every single month. So I can genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, say that I don't need to upload for another year, and I'll get 5,000 subscribers every single day. Guaranteed. So that alone is just one thing that's propped it up. There's a lot of other stuff that we do, as I'd be happy to share.
Give us some, man.
I'll share it off camera.
Off camera? Okay.
I'll tell you, with other departments, I looked at, when it comes to short form, we get, this year we'll probably finish up around 3 billion views on short form. And we have, I think that department is just 18, 20? 20 people. So we have 20 full-time people who just put out short form clips. So I think we're putting out 7,000 pieces of content a month. Yeah, 7,000 pieces of content a month. And that number isn't impressive. It's more so impressive that that's all inside an organization. Because, you can put out, like I looked at what happened with Tate and his affiliate program, and that was his biggest blessing and his biggest curse. Blessing because he blew up, curse because he blew up sometimes in a way that wasn't beneficial to his brand. So I wanted to be omnipresent, and I wanted to take over short form, but I didn't want to do it in a way where, I already started to see the effects of things I was saying where it was getting chopped up in the wrong way, and I just didn't really want that. So that's why we built an internal team, and it's worked out well. We get around 250 million views a month.
Was that part of the premeditative plan, like
Correct.
a few years ago, to do short form?
No, that was a plan last summer. So yeah, around 18 months ago, we implemented that.
And your new business, educate.io, Is that like, are you going after masterclass? Are you going after the war room? What's going on there?
I basically just wanted to create masterclass, but for hard skills, and I wanted to get the people that I respect the most on board. For example, we just got Jordan Welch on board. He's coming on and teaching e-commerce. The thing is, I can only teach what I've done. So I can teach agency and maybe a couple other things, but also I need to be able to teach what I've done, because I've done e-commerce. I do 7 figures a year with e-commerce, but that's not because of skill. Like, that's just because I have an audience. So it would be wrong of me to try to pretend that like I could teach that to someone. So yeah, there's many ways to make money. There's a few ways that I don't think I'll ever teach inside of Educate, and quite frankly, I think it's a little immoral. I think it's a little immoral to tell beginners that they should get into crypto trading or stock trading or things like Amazon FBA and spend $6,000 on stock. But, for example, things like e-commerce, you can get started with very, very minimal money. You can get started with just TikTok and that's it, and use that to validate a product. So yeah, basically Educate is, our motto is we want to have 10 times the impact on someone's income for 1/100th the price of a college education. And that's what we do.
Is the motivation behind this business, does that stem from your hatred of university? Because I've seen, again, we talked about clips, but I've seen some crazy clips out there. Do you truly just like have a issue with university?
Let me put it this way. I don't have a hatred of them because I understand why it is the way it is. I wish people would have an understanding that the only reason college is as expensive as it is because of student loans. If there were no student loans, the prices would be 1/10. And I try to do business as morally, with morals and ethics, but I'm going to be very upfront. If the government came out with a scheme where anyone can get a loan for $10,000 and use that on online education, I'm telling you right now, my prices would go up. So I don't blame the universities, because of course there's far more money in the market now, and people can basically split up their education over 30 years or 20 years or whatever it may be. So I don't necessarily blame them for their pricing. I understand why it's happened. I just want people to see it for what it is. And I think when something year after year after year gets more expensive and the results are worse and worse and worse, even at Educate in the last year, we've had 40,000 people apply to work at the company. We don't look at CVs. We've never once asked for a CV. So, we have
a CV?
I don't know.
It's a resume, right?
A resume.
Okay.
Is that a CV European thing?
Yeah. Probably.
A resume. So, and that's just the direction that things are going in. If you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a lawyer, of course, you have to go to college. It's, there's no question about it. But I know what most people want, and most people want financial freedom. That's usually the first goal. After that, usually they want time freedom. And then after that, if they can get it, they want location freedom. And it usually goes in that order. And most people go into college, they think that they're going to get financial freedom when they won't. They think they're going to get, at some point, time freedom, or that's what everyone aspires to. But like, you're not going to have a job, these sort of traditional jobs, and have time freedom. If you work at a law firm, you don't have time freedom. That's not a thing. And most definitely not location freedom. I just urge people to ask themselves, what do they actually want in life?
Can we diagnose TeeJay real quick?
Sure.
So I'm going to go to college next year, actually. So, I mean...
What are you studying?
Computer science.
Okay. And what outcome do you want from that?
I mean, honestly, it's kind of just like something to fall back on, Right now, I'm doing the drop shipping, all the e-commerce stuff. But, I mean, if in case it doesn't work out, then college would be the move, computer science. I'll be out here coding.
And if you don't mind me asking, are you paying or are your parents paying?
I'm paying, but it's not too much, especially the college that I'm going to. It's not too much, but yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'll be honest, for me personally, the thing is, I don't know you well enough to know whether that's authentic to you. Like, since when did you start getting interested in that world?
In college?
No, in when it comes to programming, coding.
I was never really interested, man. Honestly.
Yeah, then to be honest, bro, I just think it's a cop out. Like, I just
You think so?
I think honestly, you are trying to go down this path, like go loop-de-loops to just end up here when you could just go straight there.
Yeah, but it's like my parents recommend it. He recommends it, you know. So it's like, should I listen to them or no, you know?
But one thing that's really important for you to remember is the fact that your parents' advice is not going to be applicable to you, and that has nothing to do with your parents. You need to understand that when you have kids, your advice actually won't be that applicable to them. You need to remember that in 20 years' time, when you tell your children this is the best way to do things, you're going to be wrong as well. In the same way, for your parents, their parents were wrong in saying, like, there's certain life principles that always hold true. You know, the way to carry yourself. If your parents tell you how to have a happy, healthy marriage, you should listen to them. These are timeless things. But if your parents tell you this is the best vehicle, the best career vehicle to get you to where you want, they're teaching you outdated models. And as I said, it's nothing against your parents. It's just you are going to teach your children outdated models, because in 20 years' time, what I think and what we experienced, the truth that we lived, will not be our children's truths. So you can teach them timeless principles. But yeah, I just think, I don't know if it's necessarily wise all the time to listen to your parents for, hey, this is the best career path right now, because things change so quickly.
Yeah. So you're saying like 100% just put it to what I want to do.
If you don't mind me asking, how much would the entirety of your tuition be?
I don't think that much, probably like 10, 20K.
And how many years?
Per semester.
Per semester? No.
I don't know about person.
For 4 years, how much would it be?
Well, let's say it costs you 50.
Yeah,
50 to
50.
100.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Overall?
Tuition, yeah.
In 4 years. I guarantee, and listen, I'm a massive proponent of online education. I guarantee that for 20 grand, you're going to, below 10, you're going to spend, if you spend, over the next 4 years, if you spend 20 grand in online education, or let's say even 10 grand on online education, 50% of it will be a full waste. Like, you'll just be, not a scam, but like you'll get into it and you maybe learn a small little thing. 25%, a quarter of it will be, okay, I learned a thing or two, and 25% of it will be truly life-changing. And you won't know, you're gonna have to buy probably a basket of things, and some stuff will work and some stuff won't, but you still would have spent 1/10 or 1/5 the amount of money you spend on online education, and you 4 years of experience, like 4 years of time. I'm telling you right now, if you were an apprentice for a company, if you were a free intern for a company for a year, the things that you would learn, as long as you choose the right company, by the way, because some companies are so bloated that you get lost. You're one of 3,000 employees and they don't care about you. So as long as you choose the right company, just my personal opinion, I don't think it's something that screams out to you as a actual authentic passion of yours. I think whenever I hear the fallback, it's something to fall back on, that it rings alarm bells for me. I think the only thing that you can fall back on is your skills. Like, whatever you learn and nurture in the next 4 years, that is your insurance policy. That is your retirement fund. It's you. You are the retirement fund, not what your piece of paper says, this, that, because our parents they're not being malicious. It's the God's honest truth is that even 20 years ago, where you went to school actually was the insurance policy. 30 years ago, that was the insurance policy. If 30 years ago you went to the right college, you are set for life. That is correct. But that's not the world we live in these days. So you can't really take outdated advice and take that as gospel. So
yeah, somebody clip that. That was a good rant. I mean, yeah, I'll take your advice for sure. Because I was really on the edge. I didn't want to do it. I was always a hater of college, back when I was younger. But then like reality kind of hit, and it's like, oh, I'm 18. I have to make my decision. And then, I mean.
Really? Okay, yeah, I'll tell him. we do have to interrupt today's episode because I just got word that you want to get your bread up, you want to make some money with dropshipping, and the sponsor of today's episode, AutoDS, can help you with that. They're one of the top dropshipping order fulfillment solutions, right? They are the ones fulfilling orders for tens of thousands of dropshipping stores, so they know what products are actually selling because they're the ones fulfilling them. And so based on all of that data, they are able to compile lists of new products and add them to the winning product section of their platform where you can see them. And then on top of that, you can even see the ads people use to sell the product. Once you have some orders rolling in, once you got some motion, you can then use AutoDS to customize your products, slap your branding on them so your customers are going to be happier and you can build something legit. They'll also be happy because AutoDS can offer shipping times much lower than other suppliers, as low as like 3 business days on some of the product. It's insane. AutoDS targets all the major pain points of dropshipping in one service, so you don't have to go around paying for like 10 different services. And you can get a free trial today with the link in the description.
AutoDS. Automate your success.
All right, back to the pod.
Also, you've got good people around you.
Exactly.
You know, and that's going to rub off on you. I think if you're at the massive advantage of having good people in your circle, people that can mentor you and guide you, I just don't see how that isn't a better route to go than, you know, wasting 4 years on outdated knowledge and quite frankly getting ripped off.
But then also it's like I'm not only doing college, it's like half and half, you know, college and in business. So that's also a route I was thinking of taking, but you know, I think it'd be better if I just went 100% and all in into my business, you know?
Listen, I'm not one of those people, especially when it comes to online business, I'm not one of those people who thinks, you know, burn the bridges and just start a business and this and that. Because I hear I even have 34-year-olds ask me, and they've got like a wife and 2 kids. They're like, you know what? I'm just gonna drop everything and work on my business. I'm like, are you dumb? What world are you living in? You have kids. Like, don't quit your job. What are you doing? You always have to ask yourself, what do I have to lose? And the beautiful position that you're in is you have nothing to lose, bro. If you fuck up for the next, and this is also why I'm such a big proponent of business models where you fuck up and it doesn't ruin you. Like, the thing is, you know, this is why I'm just so against like crypto traders who are like, that's how you're gonna get rich as a beginner. It's like, yeah, you could also lose all your life savings and you have no skills at the end of it. Like, listen, I've made illegal amounts of money in crypto, but I don't think I'm an expert. I just got lucky. Like, I put $1 million into Bitcoin in November of 2020, wrote it, dropped it down, held on to it. I'm no genius, right? So if for the next 3 years, all you did was work on business, and at the end of the 3 years, you had made no money, the skills that you would have learned, you would have acquired far more skills in the real world and actually being practical and being around, you know, gentlemen like you have in the room, than sitting in a classroom and learning from an outdated professor and all this. And you would also have far less debt on your hands as well.
Basically, your safest bet, Biaheza dropshipping course, $294. You'll be all right, bro.
Correct.
I already have it, bro.
You heard it here first.
But I'm going to take that as financial advice. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to come right back to you, and I'm going to blame it all on you, bro.
Yeah, we'll make sure to put a disclaimer on screen.
But I appreciate that advice, though.
No, my pleasure. But as I said, bro, even if you lose $1,500, like, I don't mind. I don't ever care that someone tried a business and lost $1,500. That's okay. Or $2,000, as long as it's not an amount that really you for the, like, even if you lost $5,000, you tried a business, you gave your all and you failed. It's how you lost it. If you spent $5,000 and you put into a crypto coin and you lost your $5,000, what did you learn from that? You took nothing away from it. Now, if you spend $5,000 and you actually tried to start an e-commerce business or this business or that business, or you invested into education and then for 12 months you had no success, or 18 months you had no success with the business, and then 3 years later you have success, like, at least you took life lessons from that. You're gonna blow the money anyways. So for me, it's never about, like, failure is not something to be concerned about, and I don't think people should expect to win in the first year. That's the other issue that, like, you know, it's so funny. I see comments sometimes and they're like, oh, but you know, you always tell people to get rich quick. And I'm like, do you watch anything I put out there? Literally, like, one of my biggest messages is go look at my YouTube. I've been uploading since the age of 15. I was very open and honest when I was broke. I was very open and honest when I used to take the bus to a bookstore called Brixton Bookmongers because I couldn't pay, because I was reading a book a week, so I couldn't afford to 50 pounds a month on books. So instead I go to Bricks and Bookmongers and buy books for 3 pounds. So that way for 12 pounds, I've got my entire reading for the month. Like, you can see all of that documented, and you can see that I failed for a long time. There's clear as hell documentation that from the time in which I got my first client to when I got my second client, 7 months. Now, most won't wait 7 months. If they're not making $10,000 a month within 7 months, they think, something's wrong with them, blah, blah, this, that. Like, people just need to set their expectations. If you told our parents, like, sometimes you just need to sit with someone older than you and explain that you started a business and it's been 9 months and you make $3,000 a month in profit. Most people online these days, they think if they make $3,000 a month in profit within 9 months, they're a failure. Go tell your parents that. Go tell an older entrepreneur that. Because here's what they'll tell you. They'll go, okay, yeah, so I took my entire life savings, I invested into a business, and after 3 years, we were profitable. Like, we're living in loony land. We're living in a delusional world.
But see, whose fault is that? Like, I feel like even I'm partly to blame. Like, we're putting out these crazy numbers out there. And do you ever feel like bad about it?
I think as long as it comes with I think these things are fine as long as they come with disclaimers. That's why I try to give so many disclaimers around my life. Mm-hmm. And that's why I even try to give disclaimers around the fact that I am currently living the worst quality of life I have ever lived. The quality of life I had 4 years ago, eclipses this 10 times, even though I was making 10 to 20 times less money. So even though people use that barometer of money, I like to, because as I said, I see a lot of people and they're like, oh, have so much money, I'm so rich, my life is perfect. And I like to come on here and say that, listen, if you would like to emulate my life, you can, feel free, but here's the drawbacks and here's the downsides. So I think as long as you are open and honest with people and you tell people, hey, for the first year, just consider it a write-off. Now, if you do end up making $2,000 a month, $5,000, $10,000 a month, because let me tell you, there's many cases of it, and it happens way more than you could ever imagine. Like, making money online these days, it's so simple. It's not guaranteed to happen. You might stumble and you might trip along the way, but it's honestly never been easier to do it. But you got to go into it with the expectation that for the first year, I won't have any success. If you have some success, great, that's fine. So, yeah, to answer your question, I don't think it's your fault if you set the expectation clearly that I achieved this. This is not normal. Don't expect to get the same results, but here is what is more likely.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking on like putting up different kinds of content, your Instagram, man, your Instagram is something else. It seems like your lifestyle is a movie. I want to know what percentage of that is actually your life? Because we were, I'm not gonna lie, on our way over here, we were bumming a little bit. We were in the back of the Suburban eating sandwiches. And we were talking, we're like, bro, would Iman eat a sandwich right here, like this bummy area? So you've built up this like image of just insane high class. Do you ever just chill on your phone?
Yeah, of course, bro. Last night we went to Barney's Beanery. We went to like a bar. Like I enjoy that sort of stuff far more than anything high class or this or that. Like my favorite memories so far this year were in Nepal when we went and visited the schools out there, and we're sleeping in tents. We're spending 4 hours a day, driving through the mountains to get to schools, and we're like, it's bumpy and it's uncomfortable, but those beautiful moments when you're on top of the mountain with just your boys and your team, and you're drinking a beer and you're having fun, like nothing comes close to that. So listen, the stuff I post on social media, I think a lot of people do. Like, my rule is, and I've got my head of production here as well, like he's the one who takes all the content. Like, Alex knows I will never pose for something. You won't catch me posing. I'll never set up a scene. I'll never like, if you catch it, you catch it. That's it. I'm not going to sit here and try to like look cool in front of this and that. And I think that's why a lot of people likes my content, because you can tell it's like, most of the time it's on the iPhone on 5X. Alex is far away from me. I don't know he's filming. So, yeah, it's some snapshots into my life, but I wouldn't tell anyone to go look at my Instagram and try to like take any value from it. I'm always very honest of like what platforms are valuable, what platforms are not. My Instagram is just a little random insights into my life, but you're not really going to get any value or substance from it.
Where you're describing is still beautiful. You're in the mountains. You're enjoying time with your boys. Do you ever just sit there and scroll TikTok?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You're just chilling on your
No,
phone.
I listen, I didn't have TikTok until maybe 6 months ago or 9 months ago. I downloaded TikTok because obviously I was getting the stats from the team, and the team were like, yo, you're getting 250 million views a month on our short form accounts. And I was like, you know what, like, I should probably download this and like figure out what this is. So yeah, I've sometimes I scroll on TikTok. Sometimes I like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm a normal human. You know?
See, I can't imagine that because of like the crazy like high
The
class.
doorman, you never open your own car door.
When was the last time you opened a door?
I open it. Listen, I open the door all the time. Listen, yeah. Listen, I open doors. I open doors for other people. Even my team. Sometimes if I get out and I'll open the door for the team. Listen, it just depends the situation. Sometimes, obviously, I've got security, I've got drivers, but sometimes it's just me. Like sometimes I wake up and I just want to go for a coffee run, and I get in my car and I go to a drive-through and I just clear my mind with a drive. So yeah, I'm a normal human.
I think talking about it on a podcast is great because, if you just hop on Instagram and you see that, but you don't see this 2-hour-long podcast, and you just see only that, then that's where we're confused,
Yeah, makes
See,
sense.
have you seen it? Have you seen him open a door today?
Man, I don't know.
I don't know, man. He might be lying. It is not confirmed, ladies and gentlemen.
You saw that rant on Instagram on the stories a couple hours ago.
We're on top of it.
Yeah, we're active.
Real time.
Yeah, but what's up with that? How did you just out of nowhere?
I think I was in Vegas last week for F1, and obviously first time in Vegas. I'd never gambled in my life, and I don't know. Just I guess being in that environment, it made me quite sad to see it firsthand. And listen, I've been offered an 8-figure deal plus bonuses earlier this year for gambling. So it's something that I was aware of. And then I saw all these people promote gambling and this and that. And I thought, I was like, what? That's so strange. Like, what addictions could you openly promote and like people are okay with it? Like, I was just thinking about if influencers out there had like drinking parties and they had 3-hour streams dedicated to just drinking and getting faced, like that wouldn't be acceptable. And then if it was a drug party, like that wouldn't be acceptable. So I was like, why is it that gambling is the one thing that they're allowed to promote and like make it such a idealistic thing? And it's crazy because everyone does it. And I've talked openly about my respect for Drake in terms of a career perspective. And, I had some people be like, oh, but you respect Drake. And I also just want to make something very clear. The same applies to me. You can respect my business career. You can respect or maybe you don't respect my business career, but you respect my stance on this. Like, you don't have to agree with a person in their entirety. So like, I can still respect businesses or Drake's longevity and not agree with the fact that I think it's whack and I know how much he's making. I have.
How much?
He's always trying to get
bleep it out.
Yes.
He's
Max
lying.
might. No, okay, I'll bleep it.
You'll bleep it.
All right.
Because I know a lot of these people.
Okay.
Listen, I don't agree with it whatsoever, but I know a lot of these people. He makes it's a set retainer. So, and the crazy thing is, I know what I know, and I look at the Drake gambling stuff, and sometimes I see him with his boys, and I'm like, yo, that kind of looks fun. And that's like me in my position, knowing that like you're never gonna win at gambling.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. If like a certain percentage of gamblers will unalive themselves, and you just put this many people onto gambling, in a way, I mean.
No, listen, it is crazy when you do look at statistics and you look at there's certain people out there with so much influence, and maybe because that's actually when you think about it, because they'll know through their referral link, they'll know how many people they signed up. So I guess statistically, you also know how many people you may have had brought to that outcome. So yeah, that's a heavy thing to live with, I guess.
And the audience is so young too. With all these streamers, there's kids watching it, you know.
No, 100%.
Did you consider the 8-figure deal?
No.
No.
I didn't, because I don't want to sit here and say I'm a perfect person. I'm gonna be entirely honest. I don't know if I was broke and like my mom's in a difficult situation and this and that, if that deal landed on my lap, if I wouldn't take. But it's just, I've been very blessed to have a life where I've taken my career quite slow and steady. I know a lot of people who would have made $1 million at 18 and just pissed it all away. So I've been quite disciplined in general. So hungry people are very dangerous people. And I've known that from a young age, that I'm a very smart person. And I think if you're a very smart person and you're a very self-aware person and you're a very diligent person, but you're a hungry person, you become a very dangerous person to society. So that's why I always made sure that, I was very slow and steady with my career. And I made sure that, if the devil ever came knocking, I didn't have to answer.
You taking it?
No. I honestly, realistically, I mean,
15 million right now in front of you.
Well, I don't have that, and I probably
Base
wouldn't.
plus
Hopefully by
bonuses.
the time I get those kind of offers, I won't need that money. So I think it kind of comes with that.
No way.
But as far as you say, you take your career very slow and steady. Steady wins the race. Is that one way you avoid burnout? You've been at it for such a long time. You said you didn't take content super seriously, but there are videos that you posted 2016, 17, right? It's a long time to be posting videos fairly consistently.
I think anyone, if they lived a week in my life, would retire at the end of the week. So I'm probably a bad person to ask, how do you avoid burnout? And I think this all comes down to the whole authenticity thing. I think at the end of the week, if someone lived my life for a week and they knew what I have, they would end the week and they go, why am I doing this? I could have retired. Listen, sure, I could have retired in 2018, but I could have really actually genuinely retired 8 figures net, live off that. I could have done that 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago. I don't burn out because what else would I do? So I feel like burning out also has to do with you have another life in mind. Whereas when I'm feeling bad or I'm feeling tired or I'm feeling down, I'm not thinking this isn't the life that I want, because I know that I don't want to retire. I don't want that quiet life, because I said that's just not authentic to me personally. And who knows, maybe later down the line, maybe that changes. But for right now, I'm living life in the way that's, is true to kind of my character.
But you have toyed around with the idea of quitting social media.
Yeah, it's something that seems more and more appealing day by day. And I think it's a few things. First of all, social media is ever changing. And I know that, within 3 years, maybe 4 or 5 years max, I will not have anywhere near the same relevance as I do now. And I think a lot of people up when they have careers that are short-lived, to think that it will just keep going on forever and ever. So I know that there's, a few more years where people really genuinely want to hear what I have to say. And then after that point, you've heard what I've had to say many times. And that's also why I take these long breaks from podcasts, because I don't want to come here and say the same thing again and again. And I think if you listen to my podcast even a year ago, you can tell I've had new perspectives, and who knows, maybe in a year, maybe, something massive changes in my life. Who knows, maybe I'm a father. You never know. So maybe that totally warps and changes my perspective. I think that there's something nice and poetic about going out when you're on top. I do, even certain footballers, I look at them and they're playing and I get it, it's tough when you really, really love it. And, they're playing until they're 38, 39. It's kind of what would have been really baller? What would have been the real gangster move? Just go out at 33 when you're still kind of up there. And it's that's really cool to me. And I'm very comfortable with that, because your career online or people's interest for you online is very short-lived. Whereas your business career is something you can play for decades and decades and decades. And just because I go offline, I'm actually going to take my career 10 times hard, like my business 10 times harder. Because listen, don't get it twisted. If you're a social media superstar and a world class athlete, if you're trying to be the world's best tennis player, but you're also a social media superstar on the side, you are always going to be beaten by the person who is just a world-class tennis player. I am a worse business owner because of this whole social media stuff. Now, I don't, as much content as there is out there, you know, bear in mind, I actually don't spend much time on social media. I make one YouTube video a week. The short form stuff on YouTube is just like cut up stuff from stuff that's online. You know, sometimes we'll sit down and do a little Q&A session. But I spend maybe creating content online. I spend maybe, I don't know, 6 hours a month, like an hour a week, something like that, 2 hours a week max.
Well, so what are your days actually like if you're not spending it on social media?
A lot of calls.
Really?
A lot of calls. When I was younger, I never used to understand when I saw successful people. And I'll be honest, even guys like, you know, Gary Vee, I remember seeing his days in the life and seeing that he has 12 meetings back to back. And I was like, that's not real work. That's like not real entrepreneurship. And here I am in a position where for the past like really year and a half, 2 years, that's my life. Like my life is just back to back meeting, whether it's in person, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's phone calls, whether it's, you know, calling C-suite at my different companies, speaking with my family office, speaking with my internal finance team, looking over reports. Like it's just a lot of managing what I have, you know, meetings with private banks and wealth management firms. And, you know, like, for example, pretty much all of October was just spent studying the bond market because I've just been putting millions and millions, sometimes even in a week, into bonds because the yields have been so high. So it's just very boring stuff where back in the day I used to look at it and I'm like, that's not real business. And now kind of at the position where I am with as much of a team as I have around me, it's just meetings, reports, C-suite, wealth management, legal, finance.
When's the Bugatti coming?
How does he know about that?
That's right after the steak deal.
How does he know about that? Did you guys tell him? Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
Well, like I said, card collection, big fan of it. I think it's very classy. Same with your style, your clothing choices. You kind of claim that you're a grandpa and you wear boring clothes. You know, I don't see you wear anything super flashy, even though I know the stuff you wear is probably more expensive than a Gucci shirt, you know, but you don't have that Gucci shirt, you know. So how did you create that style, curate it?
I think growing up in Europe helps a lot. I think that's definitely a big part of it. I think growing up in Europe helps a lot. I think my friends definitely help. And I think also making a lot of money at a young age helps because, I don't know, I guess you get to a certain point in life, you feel like you have nothing to prove. And you always have to wonder, who do you attract with certain things? Like, I know that the sort of people that I want in my life, whether that be friendship, romantically, whether that be from a business perspective, they're not attracted to big labels and logos and this and that. Like, that would be, I'm gonna be very, very honest with you. Like, if someone is in like a full Gucci tracksuit, like I actually wouldn't do business with him. And I'm being dead serious, because for me, that person is a liability because they care too much what people think. Like, even, you know, people tell me all the time, like, oh, you know, you try to show off or live this lifestyle or this or that. Like, I told you, for me, it always comes back to, like, I do the things that are authentic to me. People have started to like watches in the past few years. I've been buying watches since I was 2018. I've been buying Pateks, Rolexes, this, that, and like, that wasn't cool back then. Like, yeah, I mean,
come on, bro.
No, to maybe some watch collectors, but I guarantee you right now, you wouldn't have known what a Nautilus was in 2018, 2019.
I mean, I don't know what it is.
Okay, all right. So, no, but you know, like, the world didn't know what, until they were considered an investment, like 2 years ago, people didn't really care. Like, really, most people had no idea if you were wearing a Patek. But I was buying up watches because like that was just one of my hobbies. Horologies was one of my hobbies. Whereas like in 2018, people really cared if you had cars. I did not build a car collection until this year, because until this year, I just actually didn't really care or have much of a use for it. Like for me, cars were transportation vehicles. And if I wanted to have a car that was the most impressive to people, I would buy like a Lamborghini or this or that. But it's just not authentic to me. And I would just rather kind of like, that's why like all my cars as well are two-tone. Like they're black and gray. Like I just want to just, yeah, like, you know, I could buy a super crazy this, that show off car. Like that's why I like my GT3. It's just simple. It's, you know, and in Dubai, I will say I can be a little bit more flashy. Like in London, it's Range Rover every single day. Like in London, if you have a car outside of a Range Rover, like you're just drawing unnecessary attention to yourself. And in a place like London, just not worth it.
Do you have any crazy fan encounters?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'd say there's probably 5 to 10 people a day that try to come to my house. Even though I live in a gated community. I live on an island, technically. And I have, recently we actually just built an outpost outside my house. So my security lives in my house with me. So I have security that lives in, and my house is like a fortress with the cameras and a lot of stuff that I can't say on camera. But now we even have an outpost with 24-hour security patrolling my house, and it's like, yeah, I guess that definitely is some of the drawbacks of social media and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd say 5-10 people a day trying to come to my house. I've had people dress up as Deliveroo drivers, like Uber Eats drivers, to like get in past the gate, like sneak in. I've had people forge DMs back and forth, like Photoshop, to say like, no, he said I can come in, and all this stuff goes to my security anyway. So sometimes like I don't see it, but like sometimes like Axel just tell me the stories of things that go on. Like I've had people swim to my house, just crazy stuff. But when it comes to sort of like in-person and the thing is, I know that like they're not bad people. Like it's more so flattering than anything that like you've changed someone's life to a point where they just like, because if people kind of overstep the mark, which sometimes people do, and that's why as well, I think a lot of people don't understand why I have security. I don't have security because like I would be more than happy to have no security and roll around the street without any watch or this. Like I don't give a shit. I don't have security because I have someone trying to kill me. I'm not a big mobster, gangster, blah blah this, that. Because if you're in that position, by the way, you're an idiot. Like if you're in a position in life where people are out to kill you, like you have failed so monumentally that you're gonna have to look over your shoulder if someone wants to, like, so there's nothing cool about living that kind of lifestyle. The reason I have security is because of, honestly, like external and fan interactions. 99.9% of my interactions are super positive. Every once in a while, like, maybe every 1 out of every 100 fans just kind of oversteps the mark. Just as I said, for me, a place of worship, if I'm praying, that's just like one place. Like I just want to be human. Like don't record me. If I'm small things, like if I go for a run, especially there's certain hot spots like Cape Town where I'm getting stopped every 2 minutes, and like I actually stop my run. Gladly I'll stop my run and take a photo. Just like once it starts getting into like the 3-4 minutes of conversation, I'm like, I am actually running. Like I'd be more than happy to do this normally, and that's where security is good because, we have a specific sign. We have like 7 or 8 different signs and gestures I do, which means different things to varying degrees. And it just, I don't have to be the bad guy and cut off a conversation and blah blah. I kind of have my team that takes care of it. So,
you speaking in code to them?
Yeah, I do. Certain interactions, sometimes even like, I'll be honest, even sometimes females can be a little too much.
Oh man, poor you poor thing, Iman.
No. It sounds bad, but like, I'll give you an example. If you ever see me in a photo with a female, I will never ever put my arm around them. Like for example, if it's a guy, like, and he puts his like arm around my shoulder or back, like no issues. I have no problems with that. My security has no problems with that. But like a female, I will never touch a female in a photo. Yeah. So sometimes I'll be honest, sometimes females can be a little too forward.
I don't blame him.